Hello there, my fellow Cybertronians. This is Mega Ginger and the Ginger Transformer podcast. I'm going to right into this one because it turns out after you wait a couple of months, the amount of new listings that come out only increase dramatically. And there's just so much I got to get through. Okay, And yes, I wrote a lot of this down because, quite frankly, I couldn't remember this even back when I had a good memory. Basically, just go through everything that's been shown is coming out in the next couple of months, lists, rumours. I know already they did a video on this, but then a shitload of other stuff came out. And it makes me wish I just waited and did it all in a one, but that'd have been about an hour long. So without further ado, what we've seen so far, and this is going to go from old to the most recent stuff that I've seen. This is accurate at time of recording. There could be more stuff by the time this is actually shown, so I apologise if I miss anything. Studio Series 86 Mixmaster and Scavenger were shown, and they look very nice, and that will complete our Studio Series 86 Devastator. Takara missing links Bumblebee and CJ. Not personally interested in that, but I know people that are, so I threw it in. Masterpiece Holler. That was a bit left field, I'm not going to lie. I don't like Masterpiece stuff myself. I don't know if there's maybe like a Grapple and an Inferno already. Maybe they're just thinking reuse. I mean, it's one of Hasbro's trademarks, reuse molds until death. But, an interesting one. I mean, hell, if we got Loud Pedal ends on the board. The Takara Dramatic Capture Series Reflector and Thundercracker, and if you're a G1 fan, you'll know exactly that scene. It's from basically like one of the very first episodes of, if not the first episode of the first series, where Thundercracker thinks he spots an enemy Autobot and has Reflector transform into his camera mode to see what we can see. And I'm sitting going, so any old piece of shit scene is really just up for grabs at this point. Out of all the oldest stuff, the best reveal was the Studio Series 86 Megatron. I think I've mentioned him once or twice. I see him, I like him. He comes with a little gun mode of what he transforms into. I'm going to get him now. I'm just not going to transform. That'll be it. Yeah, but like if I ever do some sort of, some people do dramatic capture stuff, and it's like Soundwave, catch me, and he transforms into a gun. I'm just going to throw the Megatron toy over there and put the little gun in Soundwave's hand, and boom, saves on time as well. Okay, this was the list that was. Some of these have been confirmed since. This was the list of coming soons that you would usually take with a pinch of salt. Some of these haven't had any other word so far, so take with a pinch of salt still. Some have been revealed, so I'll get to that. I'll get to that. And the list is Age of the Primes Swindle. We knew that was coming, considering the fact the other Combaticons are either out or coming out. Vector Prime, that's just going to be a package refresh, I think. Jalopy. I have to admit, in all my years as being a G1 fan, I don't remember any Transformer being known as Jalopy. I looked it up. I honestly thought it was some sort of food. It's where I go. And it turns out it's just like basically an old rust bucket made from assorted parts of other cars. I'm sitting going, good work. I mean, for all I know, that's just the name they're giving to Autobot Spike's robot body. I don't know, Jalopy. He was made from parts and other parts and other parts and other parts of other Transformers. So, okay, Joyride. This should People have been saying in this in the same sentence as Jalopy. Who the fuck is Joyride? Learn your G1. A song which says, learn your G1. Joyride is a known character, not only in the comics, but in Super God Master Force. Though I think he's called something else in that, but it is basically Joyride. He's a Power Master. So look it up. Some of the people who have actually been asking who it is have actually caught me off guard because these are people who basically have the same kind of knowledge base that I do. So it's like, okay, well, come on, guys, you're letting the side down. Tailgate, easy enough. Point Blank. This is like the third thing we've had about him in the past year. So, I still take it with a hefty wad of salt, but it's getting smaller. It's getting smaller, with every time we see something about it. Once I see an actual figure, I'll believe it. Fangry. So it turns out you don't need to buy these multi-packs because Fangry and Squeeze Play and eventually Horrible, if you didn't get the other 4-pack that's been mentioned, or going to be mentioned, if you don't get them in the multi-packs, you're going to get them individually anyway. Once again, package refresh. Sometimes this is a good thing. Armada Megatron, I'm sure we've had him. Both colours. We had him as Megatron and in his Galvatron colours. But hey, you know what? Why not, you know? Probably a package refresh. Unicron Soldier, that's all it says on this part of the list. I mean, Unicron has servants. Maybe this is an Armada or Energon or Cybertron thing from the Unicron trilogy, you know? But I don't think he ever had soldiers in any sort of G1 concept. You know, like I said, he had servants, Galvatron, Cyclonus, Scourge, Hook, Line, Sinker, that kind of stuff. But I don't think he actually had soldiers, you know? When I think soldiers, I think like the 4 pack, the troop builder 4 pack we had, you know, with G2 soldiers and Seekers and stuff. You know, all just like uniform, like all looking the same kind of thing, you know. But hey, if it looks good, I'll stop by it. That brings me on to something I'm looking forward to. Leader class, Liege Maximo. Now, if you didn't read the original Marvel comics or even the IDW ones, you're not going to have a clue who this is, which is fair enough. At the end of the Generation 2 comics, which were later replaced canon-wise, I suppose, with the Regeneration one, he was who Jaxus was reporting to. He was actually in charge of the whole Cybertronian Empire. You know, all them wearing the Generation 2 Decepticon symbols. You know, you see him in one panel at the end, and he's friggin' big. But if it's a leader class, I'm going to think it's probably more IDW version, where he was a lot smaller and he was like held as a prisoner inside Carcer. You know, that wasn't Carcer. You know, but if you read the IDW comics, you know that. If you haven't read them, he was really vigilant, some sort of big, psychotic, evil bastard titan. We're talking worse than Scorponok and worse than Triptychon. This guy was just like, he was intelligent and evil, you know? And he had a master, Legion Maximo, you know? So, anyway, yeah. And also Comparagon Onslaught. That would complete the Comparagons, and that would be, that would be a combiner, I'm guessing, you know? Okay, Prime exclusives on this list. Wheelie, Outback. It just says combiner. So I don't know if that just means a completed like 5 pack of the Combatagons, maybe. I mean, that would be my guess. Or a 5 pack maybe of the aerial bots. Once again, it's got a question mark next to it because we don't know. Multi-pack. We now know what the multi-pack is. It's Ultra Magnus, Nemesis Prime, Bumper, and Horrible. So that's one of the ones on the list that we can tick off as confirmed. Figures have been seen, figures have been bought. You know, we can confirm that. Timelines. Prime and Starscream. Okay. Which timeline? There's about 2, 3 dozen of them. All have different primes and Starstreams, but you know. Predacon multi-pack, nothing yet on what figures are in it. And I would personally laugh if it was a 5 pack and that was the combiner pack and it was just the Predacons, the Generation 1 Predacons in a 5 pack. I'd howl, I'd laugh. And Red Alert Minicon pack. I know a Red Alert's been out recently. I have the Hot Shot. I don't know if any of the Minicons came out for any of the Armada-esque Transformers that we've recently had. So if this is just a Minicon pack for all the ones that came out, brilliant. Not buying it. Well, I like the series. I only buy up stuff if they don't have a character in the G1 canon already. Red Alert, no. Hot Shot, no other Hot Shot in G1 that I can think of. I bought it, you know. If it was Hot Rod, I wouldn't have bought it, you know. There's like 5 or 6 just lines here. This is stuff that it's not really telling you what it is, but apparently it's coming out as a Prime exclusive. But it's not telling you anything really about it at all. Doesn't even tell you if it's a commander or a leader class, you know? Doesn't even class sizes, absolutely nothing. So there's just lines there because I'm not giving you incomplete information if I can help it. Because then you'll be pissed at me. Studio series. Now I'm going to start at 86 and move on to the other stuff. Blitzwing, Cyclonus, Wheeljack, Swoop, and Prime Sleep Mode. Prime's Corpse. We're getting Prime's Corpse. Let's be very clear on this. I don't know why I didn't just say Prime's Corpse. They were happy enough to show us other Autobots and Decepticons who've been blasted to pieces as toys. All you're doing really is giving Optimus Prime a hole in his side and making him grey. I honestly don't understand why you're not just saying Prime's corpse. We know it's a corpse. You know, many of us who grew up with this, we know. We've seen multiple times. Okay, that's only 86 stuff, apart from obviously Megatron, Mixmaster, and Scavenger, but that was mentioned earlier. Comic, show series, comic book, Soundwave, so I'm assuming Soundwave but purple. And comic Fortress Maximus, basically a non-Titan version of Fort Max, who is pretty much in all the comic series. He's only a Titan, really, and G1 cartoons and the Headmasters, Takara Headmaster series. That's it. Actual Time is a Titan. And everything else, and all sorts of comics and all sorts of forms, bar one or two panels in IDW, an IDW comic, where he actually took control of a Titan who just remarkably looked like the much smaller version of Fortress Maximus. So, once again, if I was to guess, we're getting a Marvel-esque Soundwave, which was purple, and we're going to be getting a Marvel-esque Fort Max, which he's still a big guy, but he's not a Titan. Which leaves me with the speculation that at some point in the future we're getting comic accurate Scorponok as well, who is also small because either way, if not for that, then the Civil War, Decepticon Civil War, would have been over quickly when Scorponok just transformed and stood on Soundwave, Shockwave, and his people. It would have been done quick. But it makes you wonder if that's going to happen. They'll also bring out someone else. And I love this. So again, US or UK comic exclusive stuff. I mean, it's nice to see some characters getting versions that you wouldn't normally see. And last but not least, it's a studio series, but I don't know what studio series it is because it's a studio series Titan. I'm looking back through every movie that I have ever watched. This includes all the Bayverse, and I do not remember a Titan in any of them. Now, unless they are going so far left field that we've actually just kind of came right back up and round again, and they're taking the Titan from, I think it was a short movie from Beast Wars 2, where they bring Optimus Primal from Beast Wars to help them in the fight against the Predacons who brought this massive Titan-sized thing. Looks like a kind of monster Scorponok that can transform into like a carrier, one of those uh, military ships you see that have jets on the top of it, can like land and take off on top of the carrier. That looked like to be one of its alt modes, but that didn't really count as a movie. So I am at a loss as to who this could be, unless they're going the comic book route, sorry, and it's Vigilum, a comic book Titan, you know, it could be. We're getting Liege Maximo, and there were other Titans as well, obviously from the IDW series. But it's just Metro Base, Metro Titan, Necro Titan, Vigilum as well. They might end up just doing a Vigilum, and also if they did that, they'd probably go, oh, and here a Carcer as well, who he was supposed to be. But I can't think of any from any film or the game or game. They're doing Devastation characters like Wheeljack and Sideswipe, but I don't think there's a Titan in Devastation either for the game. So it leaves you a bit flummoxed. That's why the Age of the Primes line isn't getting a Titan because they're doing it for studio series. But like I said, whatever that is, I have no idea, and there's been no info up to now. If there's been info before uh, before you see this video, well, as it was made like 2 weeks in advance of that, so I'm not going to know. You'll have found out after, like before I found out probably. But yeah, anyway, on to other stuff. It's the SDCC 2025 Void Rivals Jetfire. This is from Skybound Comics, the Transformer Energon comics from Skybound. You've got Jetfire and you've got Solia and Derek as minifigures from the comics. So worth getting. It's the War for Cybertron mold. Of course, they weren't going to bring out a new one for him. He's missing his Autobot insignia. But yeah, I don't have that one, so I might buy it. I've got Autobot stickers, plus having two little minifigures. And after that was the aforementioned 4-pack of Bumper, Horrible, Ultra Magnus, and Nemesis Prime. I haven't actually bought that. I haven't pre-ordered it. The place I usually get it from, this kind of stuff, In Demand Toys, for some reason it hasn't done it. That isn't showing it. I bought like a lot of other stuff on pre-order, but that's not there, and it's pissing me off because I have Fangry, I have Horrible, and this is an actual 4-pack I could persuade myself to buy because Horrible and Bumper. The other two I wouldn't care about. I would give to my kid to smash. Age of the Primes Wave 3 first look. These were on In Demand Toys, and these have been, most of them have been bought, right? Alpha Trion, but he looks younger, distinctly younger. he's actually able to remove his Autobot insignia like he does when he's A3. So he's called Alpha Trion, but is he A3? He looks slightly younger than he does in War Dawn, and that's set many, many millions of years before the G1 series. So this could be he's just got himself into a new color scheme. He's no longer calling himself A3 at this point, but he looks a lot younger. Micronus Prime, once again, IDW Comics. Look him up. I am not Google. Oinks Prime, I've mentioned him before, but that's because he was supposed to be out, or at least he was shown with Wave 1 stuff. And now we've only just finally got him in pre-order. I've pre-ordered it. Fireflight and Skydive, that complete series of robots. Flatline from IDW. He was basically like Hugh Laurie's house, you know, with a Decepticon badge. Yeah, he was a doctor, but he was an arsehole, and I loved him. So he's bought our last Insecticon, which I hoped we would get, but I didn't think we would get it. But we did. But they've called him Venom with an I. I'm just calling him Venom with an O, because but yeah, we have our last Insecticon to go with our G1 Insecticons, and I am over the friggin' moon. So yeah, also in pre-order. A Sandstorm versus Slugslinger. I think it's supposed to be Wreckers versus Mayhems kind of stuff, but in no version of any Mayhem squad does Slugslinger win in it. The only thing that makes me interested in this set is Sandstorm because it's the mold they used for his original G1 appearance, but with his actual face from G1, not like the toy accurate one from the 80s, where it's he's got his face here, but he's got a mask here for some reason. Slugslinger, people are saying, oh, it's so much better. Oh, look at his Generation 1 colours. It's not like the Headmaster colours. It's still just blue. I mean, I've now watched Headmasters because it's on repeat on YouTube. I've now watched the Rebirth Parts 23 about a dozen times over the past few weeks. He's black. He's not blue. He's not even dark blue or dark blue. He's black. Why has nobody seen this? Why colorblind? Yes, colorblind is a thing, but sorry, it's black and white. It's not blue and white. See if it was a black and white Slugslinger, I'd have bought it. I have the Takara version, so I have his Target Master partner. I would have just put that with him, and boom, done. I'd have happily bought it. But the fact he's like a dark metallic blue, it's like he's not fucking blue. He's not. He's black. He's black and white. But for some reason, no one gets this, and it annoys the tits off me. G2 pack of Snarl and Slug in their Generation 2 colours. A fantastic addition. Not buying, personally. I gotta pick and choose what I'm buying these days. I gotta be very, very. I can't have even if it's G2 stuff, I can't have two of the same character. To me, that these days that's like a waste of money. Okay, we're getting on to proper newer shit now. You're right, this is the past week or something. If you're a Funko Pop fan, there are 4 Beast Wars Funko Pops coming out. Megatron, Black Arachnia, Rhinox, and Optimus Primal all coming out as little tiny teeny pops. I don't collect pops. Anyone that does collect Transformers pops, there we go. They're starting a new thing with the Beast Wars. Still got about 900 G1 figures that they need to do for the pops. So I continue that line, but sure, why not? Let's see what else we got. We've got a PulseCon listing for an exclusive Commander, Armada, Nemesis Prime, and Vorpal Saber. I don't know enough about Armada to be excited about that. I just don't. Another Nemesis Prime sounds nice, but if it's exclusive, it's probably going to cost ching, And for an Armada toy, it's just not worth it to me personally. And there's a rumour of Missing Link, Ironhide, Ratchet, and an unknown Decepticon coming out. But that is just a rumour. I should say it on the thing, rumour. So take that with a pinch of salt. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff just in the past month and a half-ish. But one last thing before I go. I'm sure a lot of people have heard by now that Paramount has no plans to continue with its Transformers cartoon movie franchise. It's now it's stopped. There is no sequel to Transformers 1, which I personally think sucks. Because I went and I saw the movie, I thought it was quite good. And I'm a hardcore G1er. A lot of people apparently didn't like it because it wasn't live action. And I mean, if live action is a thing, fair enough. But I'm not a live action fan. I went and saw all the live action movies to support them. and they just got consistently fucking worse. So it wouldn't have taken much. It takes like an hour and a half out of your day, 2 hours tops, to go and see and support a Transformer film. Huh? I mean, that's it. Paramount would rather do a film about, was it Talking Poop or something? I saw on Instagram. And I'm really hoping that was some sort of satire, because if Paramount is truly choosing a movie to do with some sort of talking poop over another Transformers film, Paramount, you need to get your priorities straight, you know? Now, I hate being right on these kind of situations, but I did say in a previous video for a review long ago that I didn't see it personally getting a sequel or even some sort of continuation series because it didn't do well. It didn't. Financially, it didn't break even. It underperformed. But here's the thing, Paramount, just take after Marvel on this one. Take after Disney. They don't care if their stuff's shit and underperforms so bad. They just keep going with it. So, take a little lesson out their book and give us, I don't know, say like another 6 movies or something. Oh, that'd be nice. Then say, it's a waste of money. It took you how many films to realise that, yeah, Michael Bay was no longer for use? I'm not talking money wise here. Yeah, it did bring in a shit ton of money. But the story just got worse and worse and worse. People just went to it at this point because I kind of went because it was just a day out. You know, and usually I had another film to look forward to after that because I see two on the same day or three on the same day. I tried to make sure those were always first because I knew they would bore the hell out of me. But yeah, so it's been confirmed. That side of Paramount Transformers stuff is dead. No sequel to Transformers One, which I think is a waste. It had a lot of potential going forward, even if they'd just maybe done like a cartoon series. Didn't even need to bring in the big names for the voices again. Just recast the voice actors, It is what it is. Is a saying I've heard so many times over the past year. I'll probably get that wrote in my frigging grave. That's it for this little rant. I hope that if you didn't know about any of those listings, you probably will by now. But if you didn't know about any of them, hopefully some of them are a nice wee surprise. So, flatline. But on that note, my fellow Cybertronians, roll out, stay safe. I'll see you next time.